If you're a coach that is sick and tired of operating in a push energy where you are constantly chasing clients and pushing and tired of cold outreach or DMing, then this video is for you, because I'm going to talk today about how to become a client magnet, how to attract your dream clients in 4 simple steps. If you're new to me, my name is Joel. I'm a business coach to heart-led coaches, and I've made over $500,000 in the last few years, my first few years, should I say, as a coach, both coaching real people in the real life, not just coaches, but also coaches. And most of that has come through inbound, i.e. through a pull energy, attracting my clients, versus that push energy, which is tiring, it's exhausting. I've been there before, and there's no way to live, there's no way to build a business. So this video is going to be absolute gold. Now, when I sat with this idea of how to become a client magnet, it was really clear to me that magnetism comes through alignment. And when you align, essentially, your head, your heart, your hands, and your feet. And I'll explain each in a bit and walk through with some real tangible examples, because we're going to both spend some time in the spiritual world, in the energetic world, in the woo-woo world, but also the very practical and tangible. And the way I think about it, there are inner and outer. So the inner is that spiritual, it's the energetic, it's what's going on with inside of you. And the outer is what you put out into the world. And I believe when you have that alignment of what is going on inside, and that's aligned with what you put out into the world, that's where there's true alignment, and that's how you create magnetism. And there's a real tangible way of creating that alignment. So the very first step is creating alignment with your head on the inner side. And there are 3 parts to this: your vision, your beliefs, and your self-awareness. So starting with vision, think of Elon Musk. He is delusional in his vision. And because of that, he has created such an immense amount of magnetism, because people want to be around visionaries. People want to be around visionaries who really have a deep level of conviction. My mentor once said to me, sales is a transfer of conviction. Elon Musk has so much conviction. He is delusional, but he has a really clear vision of what he believes is true and what he wants to create. So it all starts with the vision. It's why I often start with my clients in helping them create their vision and having that real belief and love and passion for what they want to create. From there, we step into beliefs. Essentially, getting really clear about the beliefs you need to have to become the person who's already at the vision, and kind of reverse engineering that. Now, beliefs is a whole video for a whole nother day, so I'll dive into that into a deeper session. The third bit of alignment from the mind level, the head level, is self-awareness. And there are 4 bits of self-awareness that I think are really crucial. The first is your archetype, or your energy, or your human design. So there's some really amazing tools out there. Human design is my favorite. I'm a generator. And it's really a powerful resource just to understand what brings out the best of you and when you feel most aligned. There's also a really powerful tool which I learned from a guy called, I think, Alex Shafran, who said there are 5 archetypes in business. There's the consultant, the coach, the mentor, the builder, and the creator. And we tend to have 1 or 2 of those which we feel most aligned with. So for example, I'm a creator and a mentor / coach. Those are my 3 dominant archetypes. I've built before. I've built a 7-figure food tech business, and I didn't enjoy it. It felt hard, it felt frustrating, it felt like pure force. But when I'm in these archetypes of creating, mentoring, and coaching, business feels so simple. And one thing that I've really learned about business is that we will not grow into pain. So if, for example, you are a creator, an out and out creator, you will not want to actually create clients at time because you want space in your calendar. You don't want anyone in your calendar because you want space, you want to create. So it's a really powerful bit of self-awareness is to understand your archetype. The second bit of self-awareness I think is crucial is to understand the season you're in. I remember having a conversation with my mentor back in May, I think it was. My youngest daughter was 2 months old. And at the time I was really frustrated with the level of growth I was experiencing in my business. And, I remember thinking like, have I maxed out? Have I, capped out at this amount a month? I think it was 20 grand a month I had in March before my daughter was born. Actually, the month she was born, I think I had 30K a month. And I was like, have I capped out? Is this my max? All these negative thoughts were going on inside. And there was a real frustration there as well. And I had a conversation with my mentor, and he just held up a mirror and he just reminded me that I had a 6-week-old. And he asked me, what season are you in, Joel? And I replied, I'm in delivery and dadding, I called it. Being a great dad was my number one priority, and being a great coach and mentor for my community and delivering a great service for them was my second biggest priority. So that was the season I in, and I had to just accept that, and I wanted to accept that. That's the season I was in to pretty much September. So I experienced a level of growth, but it wasn't the growth that my ego wanted. But once I just accepted, this is what's important to me in this time, being a great dad and delivering for my client, that fueled alignment. And I then got really honest with the goals. We often feel out of alignment when our goals don't match the season we're in. So having an awareness of the season you're in is super, super powerful. It also humbles you, and I think we need to be humbled at times because often coaches try to sprint before they can even walk. So knowing the season you're in. And the fourth bit of self-awareness are the goals. And this kind of comes from the season, but just aligning your season with your goals. So those are the bits of self-awareness that we need on the inner at the head level. Now, flipping to the outer, staying at the head level, staying at the mind level, I think there are two bits we need to get really clear on to have this alignment. The first is what I call a vivid vision. And the second is your core identity client. Sorry for my handwriting. Oh, you can't actually see it. There you go. So vivid vision is an idea I took from the Rockefeller Habits, I think it was, or Double Double. I can't remember which book it was. But it's a document which basically outlines the business you want to create. And it's a really powerful document to even share with your community and your clients. Because again, people are looking to be led. Something I've learned about leadership is that everyone wants to be led. And the person that just grabs the baton and goes, I'm leading and this is what I'm going to create, people want to follow that. And creating a vivid vision, like with the example with Elon Musk, is a way of just building that leadership. So creating a vivid vision, having really a clarity of vision of what you want to create. And then the second part of this is the core identity client. So really understanding on the outer, like who are you speaking to? Because what we are looking for in business is that sweet spot, that ikigai of the things that we love, they're passionate about, the things we're great at, the things our clients want and the things our clients will pay for. I see a lot of coaches solving problems that no one actually wants fixed because they're passionate with it and they're aligned with it and it feels congruent to them. But they're not getting any clients because no one actually wants what they're offering. This is where we get alignment. We both understand what we're great at, what our passions are, what our archetype is, but also aligning that with what our audience wants. And something I repeat over and over and again to my community is being a scientist. So let me take you back to my first year as a coach. It was like, my first year as a coach. I was about 6 to 9 months in. And I was doing okay. I kind of iterated a few times with my niche. I was a transformational coach, a high performance coach. I was kind of all over the place, just really figuring it out. But because of my time building a tech business, I had an awareness of this idea of being a scientist. So I was constantly running experiments where for 2 weeks I would focus on, say, one topic. And in one of these sprints, I focused for 2 weeks on my morning routine, because waking up at 5 a.m. was probably the one biggest change in my life that led to who I am today. No joke. And I wrote a post on LinkedIn which went semi-viral for me. It was like 40 or 50,000 impressions. I got loads of new followers and clients from that one post. And I lent into that. I then just was like, right, let's create a month worth of content on just morning routines. Let's just focus on morning routines. And the more I did, the more my audience grew, the more clients I created. So then I launched a 5 a.m. club. It was a 2-week challenge, which led into my bigger program called the 12-week year. And that became my Trojan horse. Now, why I'm saying this is because that's what we're looking for, is the things that we're great at and passionate about, but also what our audience wants. I never would have guessed that that many people would have been interested in waking up early. Like, even though, ironically, that was the biggest thing for me, I just didn't think it was big enough. I didn't think it was enough. But actually, there's so much in simple transformations and just really getting clear about what our clients want. So again, this is probably a whole video in itself. In fact, there was this video up here or over there on niching that I think will be really powerful for you. But that's the second part of this. So we've got the inner alignment, head level, outer alignment on the head level too. So now we look at the heart level and we start with the inner heart. And ultimately, this comes down to your being. And this is something that is very hard to describe. The very first line of the Tao Te Ching says, "The Tao that can be named is not the Tao." And I think this about being or presence. It's very hard to describe being. It's just a felt experience. So I'm not going to try to put too many words to this. But this is about really your embodiment, your emotional home, your vibrational home, the frequency that you emit to the world. This is kind of how you turn up to life. And it all comes from here. Like, it all starts with being. We often think it comes from the mind, but there's a quote that's completely changed my life. And that is, it's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking and feeling than it is to feel and think your way into a new way of acting. That quote is so profound and powerful, but ultimately what it's saying is that it's our being that fuels our thoughts, and we can be both proactive and reactive about this. And this is again how I think about being the person I want to be. I both use it proactively and reactively, and I'll talk to that in a little bit. So that's on the inner side. On the outer side, this is about creating, who we are creating. I'll just write that, create. Who we are creating, who we are being and presenting to the world. One of my clients he's pretty senior up in a private equity business. And for the last year, well, about a year ago, we had a 3-day retreat in Madeira. And he realized that he wanted to be a CEO of a private equity business. And at that time, it felt wildly out of his control, like out of reach. And I remember him saying to me, like, I feel embarrassed saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but it's true. Like, I want to be a CEO. In my mind, I was like, you're already there. Like, I so saw it in him, that potential in him. Anyway, over the last few months, we've been really working on embodying the CEO version of him before being a CEO. And this is, in essence, at the heart of personal growth. It's about being, who you are creating moment to moment to moment. So we have worked together on embodiment practices, on belief reframing, on subconscious reprogramming, and he has now essentially become a CEO. He's walking like a CEO. He's speaking like a CEO to his employees. He's turning up to meetings like a CEO. He's managing his time like a CEO, even though he's not a CEO. And the beautiful thing is, over the last few weeks, he is getting CEO interviews coming to him from so many angles. He's now at a point where he gets to choose who he's going to work for, who's going to be a CEO for, because he has embodied being a CEO before actually being a CEO. So this is about who we create, who we put out into the world. And there are a few B statements that I really invite you into if you want to become a magnetic, powerful, and really profitable coach. The first is bold. There is no place in the coaching industry to be timid. So really inviting you to be bold. Now, bold doesn't have to mean brash and loud. It can mean bold in your silence. It can be bold in your proposal. It can be bold in your pricing, bold in your content, but really inviting you into being bold, especially in this era where there's insane amount of content. To stand out, we need to be bold. There is no time or place for timidness. The second is unattached. This is, in essence, how to become energetically attractive. The less I care about creating a client, the less I care about making money, the easier client creation and making money is. It's a bit of a paradox of life, right? But it's true. We can sense neediness. And a belief that I know to be true is that people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold. And that belief has really fueled this process of being unattached, really inviting you into being unattached. And I did actually a whole video on being unattached, and you'll find it on my page somewhere. The third is being a scientist. As I shared before, finding what we're looking for is that crossover of what we're great at, what we love, what audience wants, and will pay for. We only get there through science experiments and iterating. The fourth or fifth one I forgot now, but it's being generous. Generosity, though, comes from when you're unattached. If you feel attached to something, just give it away. If I feel attached to money, I just want to give it away, whether it's a homeless person or a charity or whatever. It's like, it's the best way to fuel being unattached is with generosity. Generosity with your time, with your being, with context, just being generous. It's pretty much my number one strategy in my business. This video, I believe it's insane value. I've got so many videos with insane value on my YouTube. My mind is often saying to me, you can't give this away. But in essence, I want to build a business on generosity where people say, I cannot believe how much value you give, because I know the more value I create, the more value I get in return as well. B, enrollment is the next one. So my previous mentor, a guy called Stephen McGee, he says enrollment is where you touch, move, or inspire someone to a greater possibility of change. Now, we've totally misunderstood enrollment and conversion, and we've conflated the two. But enrollment is separate from conversion or any transaction. Enrollment is who you are. It's in your being. And in essence, I want to invite you to live as enrollment. That's how I live. I want to inspire people just by my being, just by who I am. And whether they work with me, I'm totally unattached to that. But those that do will find me, and they do. They find me. I created a client recently for 10 grand. He came out of nowhere, but he'd been consuming my content for a long time. And he just said, I'm inspired by who you are, because this is who I am. There's no difference between what I put out in the world and who I am at home. Of course, I shout at my kids very occasionally. I get frustrated occasionally. I'm human, of course, but I'm also humble, I'm vulnerable, and you get what you see with me. And that inspires others to step into who they are. I'll give you another example. I was flying back from London to Madeira a while back, and I sat next to this gentleman next to me. We had this beautiful conversation, and he just mentioned that he kind of just got into personal growth. And I knew the book that I had in my bag above, which I just bought and I really wanted to read, would be an amazing book for him. It was called the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Amazing book. And I was like, do you know what? I'd love to give you this book. Internally, I was saying, this is too much, Joel. You know, you're going to put him off. This might feel a bit weird. But I was like, no, what would love do in this case? What would enrollment do in this case? And I gave him the book. Anyway, we actually had an enrollment call. It didn't quite work out. It wasn't fully aligned, but that's how I live and aim to live, is just with generosity and inspiring people with who I am. And the final thing I'll say is be weird, be you. Like, there's no time and place anymore to pretend to be anyone else. So really want to just invite you to be you, be weird. Uh, you don't want to play the better game. You want to play the uniqueness game, the you game, the different game. And how you become, how you create that sort of niche of one is by being and stepping into who you truly are and all your uniqueness. I have an addiction to peanut butter. My audience kind of know that. I literally eat it like yogurt. I go through around 3,500 calories per week on peanut butter. That's weird. My audience know that about me and constantly tease me about that and send me peanut butter memes because they know that about me. I also love dancing and I'm pretty feminine when I dance. I don't care what people think of me. I am just so in love with stepping into who I truly am and so aligned with that and really passionate about living authentically and expressing authentically that people feel that. So that is on the heart, on the outer side. And again, there's tangents here, right? The third part is hands. So on the hand side, this is about skills. And anytime I say skills, I think of Napoleon Dynamite, super skills. But on the inner side, this is really about regulating. I realize you just can't see my iPad. This is about regulating and being able to be the best and create your best version moment to moment. But I would say regulating, centering, whatever your verbiage, is one of the most underrated skills in coaching. My mentor once said to me, you don't have a business problem, you have a personal problem showing up in your business. And it is true for most people, because I get clients coming through my program sometimes feeling so overwhelmed, and their pattern to that is just panic or running away or burying their head in the sands or just going silent. And if they don't break the pattern, they'll constantly be stuck in that and they won't be able to grow their business. So your ability to regulate and to lean into discomfort, regulated and centered, is about the most underrated and highly valued skill there is. Now, the way I do this and the way I think about this is both proactive and reactive. Proactive and reactive. So proactive, this is about proactively stepping into the person you want to be every single day, moment to moment to moment. So I'm always asking myself, who do I want to be in this moment? Who do I want to bring to this moment? Both on an energetic and embodiment side, but also on a consciousness level. So for example, when I'm doing my accounting, I don't want to bring a very floaty version of Joel who's like, whoa. I want to bring a grounded, centered, very more of a samurai energy, where it's like there's no emotion. I can look at the numbers without any attachment and feel nothing, right? More of that monk-like energy. That's the embodiment energy that I proactively want to bring into that moment. If I'm in a creative state, I want to be dance, I want to be fluid, I want to put on some good music and sort of, right there, I just want to be in that creative mode. If I'm so what I'm trying to say here is that I'm always thinking, who do I want to be in this moment? What energy, what embodiment, what level of consciousness do I want to bring to this moment? So that's on the proactive side. And on the reactive side, it's about bringing awareness to how you are in the moment and then choosing who you want to be. So I'll give you an example. I remember my very first kind of larger talk to it was like 200 people in both 100 people in person, 100 people online. My very first talk, and I had about a day's notice for this talk, so I had no time to really prepare for what I was going to say, and I was going to speak for like 4 to 5 hours. But I had so much trust in this model of awareness and choice and trust, ACT, act. I had so much belief in it because it has carried me through so much of life. I just knew, and every time my mind was saying things like, what if you pee yourself, Joel? Or what if you blank and can't say anything? Or what if you panic and cry? Or what if you, my mind was saying all of these things that were just not true. I knew that I could trust, awareness, choice, trust. So a few times when I was speaking, I had a few moments where I noticed someone who was bored. I noticed someone else who looked bored. Then my throat would close up. I would start to get a little bit panicky. And okay, I've got awareness of that. I've noticed my body, noticed my thoughts. My thoughts are telling me to speak faster. So okay, great, awareness. Now I have a choice. Do I carry on from this embodiment, from this energy, speak even faster, or do I create and choose something different? So I know, and I've been through this so many times and had so many reps of this, is that, okay, have that awareness. So what I choose to do instead is slow down, take a breath, relax my belly, maybe look around the room, maybe center myself again, and then I trust that version of me. And this is so profound. If there's one thing you take from this video, take this. This is everything, everything. Awareness, choice, trust. So that's on the inner side, regulating. The outer side, the outer skills on the hand side are things like copywriting or storytelling, content creation, YouTubing, whatever it is. And the easiest way of getting really clear about the skills that you need to develop is starting with the end in mind. So starting with the vision, values, and then looking at who you need to be. And the best way of doing this is thinking about who is already at your vision, who already created your vision. Who are they? What skills do they have? What attributes do they have? What qualities do they have? And then finding a way to invest in that person. Because what I've noticed is that proximity is power. When I'm around people that are slightly ahead of me and have the skills that I want to develop, just by observing, I learn through osmosis. So that's what I would suggest. But also, then running your life on 8-week cycles. It's how I run my life and business, and how we do things in the ECC, my community as well. We have 8-week cycles where we get clear on the goals we're working towards, the one project that we're going to work on, the non-negotiables, but also the one skill that we're going to work on in that 8-week cycle. And that then informs the books we'll read, the content we consume, and it fuels that real focus. So that's on the outer side, the skills like copywriting, the things that we're putting out into the world. Because I have a lot of people say to me, I'm creating all this content, I'm following your content strategy. In fact, I had someone who's downloaded my free content creation engine. Said, Joel, I've been following your content strategy for months now, haven't created any clients. And this person's not a client, he's just consuming my free content. And the variable there is his skills. Like, the content strategy works, the variable are his skills. And the way I've developed my skills is by investing in my skills. So the skills are the variable of the action. We can all take lots of action, but if we're not learning and growing and evolving and developing our skills, then it's kind of pointless, right? So finally, feet. So this is about action. Action, action, action. Yes, you can see that. And what I think about here are my personal non-negotiables. And what I would encourage you to think about is just finding 1 or 2, maybe 3 non-negotiables that are like the lead domino to who you want to be. So let me give you an example. I was once fat, overweight, same thing, lazy, and would snooze for hours. And it drove me nuts because deep down, I knew I had a lot of potential. I remember every morning setting my alarm early, but then lying in bed going, oh, go on, Joel, just have a few more hours. You did this yesterday. You can get away with it. I was just negotiating with myself for hours, literally hours. And I kidded myself that I loved sleep and I needed the sleep. And I love sleep. But really, it was keeping me small and it was keeping me from my full potential. And I knew it. And I knew that if I nailed my morning routine, if I nailed getting up early and quitted snoozing, that would be the lead domino, the Trojan horse that would change my life. So I read the book 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and I went all in on my morning routine and wake up at 5 a.m. for 3 months. That was the one habit, the one non-negotiable that I focused on. And what I learned in that process is that I couldn't rely on willpower. My willpower was not strong at 5 a.m. There's a great book called Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy, who confirmed that for me. So what I did is I instead designed my environment. So I used an app called Alarmy, and I set the app so I needed to solve 10 maths equations to switch it off. 10. One on my iPhone, one on my iPad. Drives my wife nuts, but it brings out the best in me. And that non-negotiable completely shifted my life. From there, I got in shape. I fueled more confidence, more belief. I had more discipline, more self-control, more focus. Everything changed from there. And that's how I think about my personal non-negotiables now. I go all in for the few that really are like the lead domino that create the positive thing of change. There's a word I'm missing there. You get what I'm saying. So what I would encourage you here is just find one or two personal inner non-negotiables that bring out the best of you, whether that's around your nutrition, sleep, exercise, whatever it is. Another example, I noticed I once was kind of wavering from my 5 a.m. morning routine because I was staying up too late. I was watching too much Netflix. So what I did is I put my Wi-Fi on a timer that switched off at 9 p.m. Again, drove my wife nuts, but hey, you're married to me. Good luck. So it switched off at 9 automatically, kind of forcing me just to go to bed. And sure enough, that was a lead domino, which led to me waking up at 5 a.m., which again led me to being the best version in the day. So these are the inner non-negotiables. And then on the outer, these are your feet on the outer actions. There are two types of actions that we need to focus on in building. Again, you can't see that. There are two types of actions we need to focus on in building your coaching business. One, non-negotiables, and two, projects. This is how we operate in the ECC. Your non-negotiables are really simple in building a coaching business. We call these the 5 C's. Cultivate magnetism, it's kind of the inner actions, creative force. Then conversations, no business. So finding time every day to be in conversations, to just connect, follow your curiosity. The next is coach. So finding a way every single day to coach, whether it's via voice notes, sending someone a book, just finding a way to coach, to give value, and just to be of service. The fourth is to create something meaningful that helps people think in different ways. And then the fifth is celebrate, because celebrating fuels confidence and confidence fuels magnetism. So those are your 5 C's, the non-negotiables. The second part of this is projects. And again, we operate our business in ECC, well, the coaches in ECC and me operate our businesses on 8-week cycles where we essentially go, right, what's the biggest bottleneck in our business? Is it lead gen? Is it lead nurture, conversion, delivery, retention, resale, referrals? Is it one of those 5? Okay, which one it is? And then we brainstorm all the projects that solve that bottleneck, and then we pick 1 to 3 projects for that 8-week cycle. And that, my friends, is how you magnetize dream clients. You have that alignment with both the inner world and the outer world, the head, the heart, the hands, and the feet. So what I would encourage you to do now is get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, 3 lines, so you have 4 sections, and rate yourself on each out of 5. So how are you turning up? How clear are you on your vision, your beliefs, your self-awareness out of 5? On the outer, thinking about the vision that you want to create and how aligned you are with your client and how clear you are on your client. Again, score that out of 5. Same with heart on the inner, same heart outer. You kind of get the picture. So score each out of 5. And personally, I would say your heart, the energy, that's like 80% of the work. Then the head, then the feet, then the skills. Roughly, probably those two the same. But it starts with your vision and that vibration, the head and the heart. Those are the two most important. Then the hands and your skills. But when you have all 4 or 8 sections in alignment, I promise you, you are going to be a client magnet. Life is going to become so fun, so easy, so joyful. And that is my goal for you. Sending you so much love. Hope this has been useful and speak to you very soon. Ciao.